We're here with Riley, president of the Esports Association in the University of Kentucky. Riley, thank you so much for your time and for adding value for international students that might be interested in going to the University of Kentucky.
No problem.
So, before we start going into the talk, can you explain a bit about your journey into becoming the president of this association?
So I started off with esports in high school. I started the esports club at my high school in Scott County. And once I got into college, I took some time off to do some personal stuff. But after I found the esports club, I very quickly became the captain of the League of Legends team.
Hmm.
During my year as captain, I organized an event called Clash at the Cornerstone. Cornerstone is the building that houses our esports lounge. Um, and it was basically a high school recruiting event where we invited high schools in our region to participate in a League of Legends tournament and compete ultimately against the collegiate League of Legends team to establish the difference between high school League of Legends versus collegiate League of Legends. Um, After that, I uh, became nominated to become the events manager for the University of Kentucky Esports Club last year. And then after a year of being the events manager, this year I officially stepped up to become the president.
That's great. And how many members in your community? And also, do you offer what are the positions of of the people managing the association?
So typically we have a few graphics designers. We have
Mhm.
obviously the event manager. We have a teams coordinator who organizes team room practice times and tryout dates. We also have a production manager. We have a Discord manager. We have social media managers. We also have a business relations kind of team, which consists of the president and then two other sort of business focused students. And we primarily focus on coordinating with local businesses and some bigger companies such as Gen G and Coke to put together sponsorship decks for our events and get funding for stuff like that.
That's great. And so you get funding from sponsorships like them, but does how is the involvement with UK? Like, do they also give you funding, or you rely solely on donations and sponsorships? How does that work?
So right now, the University of Kentucky Esports program is a student-run organization. We are um, I think what it's called is a student-sponsored organization. So the University of Kentucky sponsors us as a um, entity of the University of Kentucky. They essentially don't give us money, but we can use their logos, we can use their fonts. We are essentially the University of Kentucky, but they are like, but you're still separate. So it's like together, but still our own thing. This year, my primary focus is getting with the athletics department and sort of expanding how we can interact with the University of Kentucky. But as of right now, we are still completely student ran. We have some advisors, but really they just kind of help us delegate and give us some tips.
Yeah, and so your goal, would be like, what is your objective into interacting with the athletic department? You would like to be considered a varsity program, or you would like to continue as like under the student life, but like get funding? Like, what is the objective? Because there's pros and cons of being considered in athletic department and being like in student life. Like, what is your objective, and why would you like that to happen in that way?
So my ultimate goal would be to have the athletic department recognize our teams as they would a football team or a basketball team,
Hmm.
and have them fund us in equivalent ways or allow us to have access to those funds should our teams be doing well, um, just as they would support a basketball team that's going to international events and doing stuff like that. Um, but I would still want the organization to be student led because really it is very different from normal athletics. So the facilities and the organization and the tryouts for all the different teams require a lot of individual knowledge per game, just as you wouldn't have the football coach doing basketball tryouts. You don't want League of Legends players hosting the Overwatch tryouts. It just
Mhm.
there isn't overlap as much as the way that there is for traditional sports. And um, I think having students who have grown up with it, at least for now, for this generation, and the next few years to come, it would be best to leave it to students to organize it. But we still need the backing of the athletic department to create a bigger scene for it and to sustain the growth that we're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, or at least if it's still like student, like under the student life, have full-time stuff like you guys are have been growing this program into what, like having a full-time staff would continue, because if then after you graduate and you don't get paid, you have to get a job, and you won't have time to do this, and then another guy will get your position, but maybe it's not, he won't develop it as well as you do. So like that's like, yeah, I think they will for sure, like if they want to continue grow, like they will have to start to offer full-time positions.
Yeah.
But like the thing with your university is like you guys in athletics are like top in the country. Like that's why maybe like it's not like a small private institution, that is like, yeah, we want to increase recruitment, yeah, let's put like it's more complex than in other universities.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, like if it ends up happening, it will, but like the the amount of years that I will take, that's all, it depends on you guys, and I hope, I hope you the best. But yeah, you guys are a top athletic institution, so it's a bit more complicated than other institutions. But yeah, yeah, yeah. And what are like, do you guys have like varsity teams, Chevy teams, club teams, or is it mainly, what is your focus? Is it like a bit of three, or you focus more on the club? Like what is it?
So right now we kind of our focus is very much split. We're trying to garner the interest and build the club and use our facility and host events that will basically fill the space, because once we start filling the space, then we can have more of an impact. Say we have more interest in the club, and it basically requires that we get more involved with the university in order to support our events. So that's one focus, but we also want to stay focused on uh, implementing those varsity teams, those B teams, stuff like that. Right now, basically we have a top team for every game that we can field. So we have what's basically we're designating as the varsity team, um, and then B teams, but really there's no difference other than we try and put our best players in the varsity premier leagues and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
the varsity team doesn't necessarily get more scholarships or more payment. They
Mhm.
just have more opportunities to be seen and to play.
That's great. And how do you guys like manage your academics with with your job, especially being a president? Like, who
So
even sleep?
um, I know. So in general, all of our members in the club have to stay in good academic standing. So if you have less than, I think it's like a 2.0 grade average, you can't be a part of the club. We can't. In order to sustain our club position with the university, we can't allow members who aren't in good academic standing have any participation in the club. Um, but me personally, as president, um, I find I a lot of times this is neither a guarantee nor is it required, but a lot of our officers and team captains find that whenever they start working at the lounge, they get is pretty much minimum wage working at the lounge that houses a lot of our esports. They find the time while they're running the front desk or while they're um, working on the projects for the lounge, putting together graphics and stuff. They put aside some time to also work on club stuff. Um, and basically, it allows us to work on the club, which advances the lounge um, and get paid for that sort of work. And then after we get done with work, then it's time for class and it's time to do homework and it's time to do personal stuff.
Mhm. And what are your like very short term? What are your objectives for this year for the association? What do you want to happen?
So this year, I'm looking to expand the sponsorships that we're receiving. We are currently in the works of working with several local businesses, food
Mhm.
establishments, and gaming industries, or gaming businesses, really, and sort of getting our roots established in the local Lexington area. Um, that is my primary goal for this year. That way we can, again, garner more interest and really just put on more events with more funding and more interconnectedness with Lexington area as well as other clubs in the university.
That's great. And your objectives with those partnerships, apart from like possible funding, do you like providing like internship opportunities or like workshops in on campus or like gear? What is your objective? Or you just contact companies and see what they can offer, or you have a main focus on what you would like your partners to be, or how do you make
So,
that happen?
gotcha. That would be part of it. Obviously, as we get closer to other companies and we start
Mhm.
to establish more of a regular connection, um, having the internships and stuff like that that may or may not come. Um, I know there's in the U.S. there is what's called NACE. It's
Mhm.
one of the premier leagues for League of Legends or for collegiate esports. And through that, we are a participating school. We do pay to be a part of that league, and with it comes opportunities for internships, scholarships, uh, learning opportunities for the industry. So if you attend our school, you will be automatically a part or eligible to uh, sign up for those things. Um, but yeah, as in terms of local stuff, we're still in the very early processes on that. Having internships and stuff like that would be awesome, but that's not necessarily what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah. Okay. And what would you say like is the ratio of like I not exact ratio, but what is the ratio of like students that want to get in the esports industry and those students that are just building their portfolio in your esports organization?
That's a good question. I'd say the there's a lot of people who are interested in playing on the teams and just sort of getting that taste of playing esports. But a lot of the team captains and basically all the officers are interested in pretty much seeing what opportunities there are in the esports industry. I know we also have several people who want to be casters, observers.
Mhm.
Sorry, work
Mhm.
more in the production side of things. So we have a lot of opportunities with that, especially in our facility where we have the streaming and casting booths. Um, so I'd say I wouldn't know the ratio, but there
Mhm.
is a decent, um, especially for active people in the club. Pretty much everybody who's active is either on a team or part of the team that puts on the events and organizes things.
That's right. No, because you guys like being in college in the association is a safe space, to try new things, to experiment. So and also like you guys in Kentucky have a lot of counties, a lot of small private institutions, like, and esports is expanding. Like if you guys have like a 4 year trajectory, like working on collegiate esports, like I'm not saying like easily, but like it's very accessible. Like not a lot of people that are now esport directors or coaches have the experience that you guys had in college, and you have a higher chance of getting into high positions, in
Yeah.
the collegiate space, and that's amazing. That's amazing. So yeah, like just to wrap this up, like um, how do you view the association in 3 to 5 years and the collegiate scene itself? Like just a prediction. Like
So I think starting with the collegiate scene as a
Mhm,
whole, I think it's definitely growing. It's definitely garnering more interest. Hopefully, in 3 to 5 years at the University of Kentucky, you can already see it in other establishments in the U.S. There's more and more scholarships for esports at individual colleges and universities. Hopefully, in 5 years, the University of Kentucky, University of Louisville, other big universities across the nation will start recognizing and supporting fully the esports program. Um, I don't know if it'll happen in 5 years. Hopefully, it'll happen in 5 years. I'm kind of crossing my fingers that it'll happen in 1 year while I'm here, but that's probably not going to happen. But hopefully, within 5 years or at somewhere around there, that's where I would like to see it. Whether or not it's still in students' hands at that point, I hope it will be. Um, I think it will be, but uh, I think that's where I would want it.
yeah. And in how many years do you think there's gonna be a derby between UK and Louisville esports? And who's gonna win?
Well, actually, already we're very close communication with the Louisville Esports because they're kind of in the same position as us. They have
Mhm,
not as great a facility as UK because we got like a whole new building built and they got like designated a whole section for us. But they have like a kind of abandoned library that they kind of re-renovated a little bit into an
mhm,
esports lounge. But every year we put on a charity event called the Governor's Cup, or it's like the online Governor's Cup, and we just play against each other in various games. So it's more for fun, especially since it's all student ran. Uh,
mhm.
Hopefully, in the future, it can become a little more competitive, a little more broadcast worthy. Um, but yeah, that's where we're at right now.
That was great, Riley, man. It was amazing talking to you, man, and we stay in touch for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.